Okay. My lighting is awful. Hi, YouTube. Woo! We made it on. Yay! Wow. Sometimes it's like a hit or miss of whether we're going to get on exactly at 9 or whether it's going to be saying loading, loading, loading. Welcome. Oh, wow. If you can see me well, let me know. I keep moving my phone around for the people on on Facebook, because something's going on with my lighting. But hopefully you can see me. Go ahead and comment in the chat if you're having any type of difficulty seeing me. I'm not sure what I did differently, but my lighting is definitely a little bit weird, at least on the Facebook side. Well, let's go ahead and dive in. Good evening and welcome to Women's Financial Empowerment Group. I'm your host, Ruth Agbeloso, and this is our weekly book chat. And I'm so happy to have you on. If you can hear me and see me well, please give a thumbs up or say something in the chat and let me know. Usually the kinks get worked out, but sometimes it's still weird. And I think I'm getting better with this whole technical stuff, but sometimes I'm not quite sure. So I'm live right now in Facebook, and I'm live right now here on YouTube. And this is our last book chat, at least last for now, not forever, for now. And I'm going to move my phone again. So bear with me. Those of you who are on Facebook and watching this, I'm not crazy. I just want to make sure you can see me, because on the way how I'm looking at it, it looks like, I don't know. The lighting is weird. So if you can't see me well, I apologize. Of course, I can't see you. All right. Enough of that silliness. I hope you had a wonderful day today. Whatever day you had, I'm so glad that you took out time to come and join us for this live chat. We've been doing it. This is our 16th episode. 16. And that is so exciting. And it's funny to be taking a pause right now when we've gotten to this point, but I felt like it was a good time to kind of regroup, take a break, regroup, do some things differently. I do have some great plans in mind for restarting the book chat. It's definitely going to be different than how it is right now. So I'm really excited. And I don't have a date for the next one yet, but hopefully, God willing, I'll have a date sometime soon. I will put that out on my my business page on Facebook. If you haven't liked and followed that page yet, it's Women's Financial Empowerment Group on Facebook. That's all it is. So you can go there, like and follow, and you'll be able to hear about any announcements, obviously. And I will also post here on YouTube the next live that I'll have. And also, I usually have weekly videos. Now, since we won't have a live, that means that my broadcasting will be a little bit different. So it's going to be a challenge for me, but I'm going to push out not one video, but 2 videos for the week. So that's going to be a challenge for me, but I'm willing to take on that challenge. So I hope that you will watch my videos and give me your feedback. Let me know if you need to see a little something different, or if there's a certain style of video that I do that you like, because I've been kind of playing around with what style people like better. Do you like more instructional style, more conversational? Do you just not want to see me at all and you prefer just to see a screen where I'm just showing different things? Let me know. I've been getting some great feedback. I mean, some of it is, harsh, but not harsh in a bad way, but it's like it pushes me in terms of like, okay, I need to work on this, I need to work on that. And I honestly feel that that's a good thing, that people even take the time out to say, hey, maybe you should work on this or that or the other thing. So thank you so much for all of your support. If you've given me feedback in Messenger or in a Facebook group or whatever, I really, really appreciate and love you for that. So if you're new here, again, my name is Ruth Agbeloso. Please go ahead and hit that like button, because I really need that. That's the way that we show up in YouTube. Show YouTube something interesting. And even though I'm new here, that I'm worth listening to, by hitting the like button, subscribing if you have not subscribed, sharing it, commenting, all those wonderful things. So without further ado, that was a really long announcement / welcome / all of that other stuff. Okay. So, hey, somebody's having a hard time. Let's see. Arg, I can't get YouTube to even work right now. Okay. Hey, Lane, it happens. It happens. It's okay. You just do your best. I still, what I have trouble with that I need to work on is how to comment directly to somebody when they're on Facebook. I'm really not sure how to do that. But after the video is over, that's when I'm able to go back and like your comments and things like that. I need to learn that stuff. Anyway, I'm not sure if you heard that whole long spiel, Lane, but to make it really short, because we got to get into it, time is going. Of course, this is the last video for this season. This is the last live chat for the season, excuse me. And then we will reconvene at a later date, which I will announce, but we'll be doing things so much more different. So much more different? Yeah. So much different. So much different is enough. Yeah. So much different. So stick around, invite your friends. And yeah, you'll be notified of when we'll have the book chats again. In the meantime, just come back and watch my weekly videos. I also said I'm going to challenge myself to post 2 videos instead of 1 per week until we do the live chat again. So I'm excited about that. It's a little bit scary, but it sounds exciting as well. And that's it for me. Do you have anything to add? I know you read the book. If anyone else read the book, if there's something that really stood out to you that you want to share, feel free to share. Remember, I did not write this book. I will not be offended if you say you did not like the book. But I mean, obviously, we don't want to beat up on any of our authors. We want to show them respect, because honestly, they don't need to put their words out there. But I mean, if you criticize someone, it's okay. I mean, I think it's okay if you didn't really like the book. I personally got a lot out of the book. Of course, tonight we're going to cover the last few chapters of it. Yeah, and I'm just realizing that the notes that I have next to me only cover 12 and 13. So yeah, but I have more to add. So, because I got it all up here. See, all up here. Anyway, so we're going to dive right in. No one has made a comment about what they want to talk about with this book or anything that you learned. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. I hope you had a great week. Feel free to share in the chat anything that you want to about, how your week has been going. I forgot it's not Friday. I'm rushing it. Or how your day has been. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to talk about, Lane says, oh my goodness, I just don't get how telepathy and clairvoyance could be a tool to get rich. Yeah, that was an interesting topic. Okay, so for those, look at me. I didn't even say what book we're reading. We read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So sorry for not saying that sooner. Think and Grow Rich. And it's a really heavy book. Honestly, I started off this whole book chat a few weeks ago letting people know this is not my first time doing this book. I've done this book before and I put it down. I didn't really like it the first time. I put it aside and I was like, no, I'm not here for this book. Like, honestly, I'm not here for this book. I felt like it was just written for a certain audience, which I did not fit that category. So I didn't like it. But then I revisited it and certain things started jumping out at me. And I've come to the conclusion that even though we may not like a particular person or like everything that they say, but sometimes you can get some value from what they are sharing if you would just take the time to really listen. So with that being said, I decided to go over the book again, and I realized that there was some value in it. Now, Lane is talking about chapter 12, which is talking about telepathy and clairvoyance. So basically, we talked previously about having a mastermind group. So that's your core group that you get together with, bounce ideas off of, and that's one way to achieve success. So the author talks about telepathy, and using clairvoyance. And for some people that may have gone over your head. Lane is like, I don't know how it's a tool to get rich. Honestly, I don't know what to even say about it, honestly, because I listened to it because I have the audiobook version of this particular book, and I listened to it more than once. And I mean, I think you can take what you take and leave what you leave, because there's going to be some things that you're not going to either agree with or you're not going to accept. Well, same thing. And that was one of those things for me that was a little bit spacey. But I don't want to talk bad about it, because I know that there are some people that really believe in telepathy, like it is a thing. And so I guess the viewpoint is like, when you use telepathy, you can transfer certain ideas or what have you that are wealth building ideas and have success that way. I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's not my thing. But if you have any comments about telepathy or clairvoyance and what the author was talking about, feel free to put that in the comments and let us know what you think. But I'm not going to deliberate on that point. I think for some people that will be a little bit much, and it will go over your head a little bit. And that's okay. I mean, when you read a book, you take what you take, leave what you don't want. Okay. Elaine says, I'll have to listen to it again. Yeah, you could, and you may still feel the same way about it. It's just, I feel it's just one of those topics in this book that are a little bit, subjective, I feel. So take what you take, leave what you want to leave. And I'm going to leave it like that. All right. Feel free to share any other questions that anyone has about the readings this week. Feel free to share it in the chat. Let me know. The brain. He talked about the brain. And I'm just going to read off of these notes real quick. Okay, so every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. I'm going to leave a link. I forgot to do it the last time, honestly, so forgive me for that. But I will leave it this time, a link of where you can get some notes on this book. I write my own notes, but I also have gotten some notes from someone else on this book. Okay, so every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. The subconscious mind is the sending station of the brain through which vibrations of thought are broadcast. The creative imagination is the receiving set through which the vibrations of thought are picked up from the ether. I mean, these are concepts that are kind of deep as far as I'm concerned. So feel free to speak up if you don't understand them or don't like them, or if you have something to add. Anyway, when stimulated or stepped up to a high rate of vibration, the mind becomes more receptive to the vibration of thought. This stepping up takes place through positive and negative emotions. Vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried by the ether from one brain to another. So I guess Lane, that goes back to the telepathy. How you can transfer certain thoughts from one person to the other. And I mean, not that I'm saying that I've done that or that that's something that I would advocate for doing it. I'm just trying to make sense out of what the author was meaning with the whole thing. That if we're both like-minded and we're focused on a certain thing, sharing those positive or those negative emotions can lead to success. I don't have a whole lot to say about that chapter because I feel like it really, a lot of it was focused on that part. And that is so he says the 11th step towards riches is the connecting link. And that's when he talks about the brain and all that good stuff and how there's that connection there. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the wrong chapter. Sorry. That I'm looking at chapter 12. Sorry, we did that last week with the connecting link. Sorry. This week talking about the brain. That's different. Okay, so that was chapter 13. Okay, so we're going to move on to chapter 14. So this week, honestly, there was a lot of talk about the brain and all that stuff, and that's not the part that I really wanted to do with tonight because it was a little bit much. I think I would just transfer the thought, give me money. Yeah, that would go really well, depending on who you're sitting with. They might not pick up that vibration at all. But, honestly, have you ever spoken to somebody and without them saying it, you could tell that they were in need of something? Have you ever had that experience? Because I've had that experience before. And on both ends, like I've had someone pick up that I was in need of something that was years ago, like years. I'm gonna say years and years, as if I'm like 100 years old, which I'm not yet. But it was a long time ago. But I remember someone just coming to me and telling me, just having a conversation with me and just picking up that, what, I just feel like this would really help you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wow, how could she know? Like, I wasn't acting like, I needed anything or whatever. Like, what's the deal with that? But I feel like sometimes you can pick up, and I don't know if this is exactly what he was saying, but I feel like sometimes you can get like a vibe from people. So, anyway, I don't think he was talking about a vibe. I think it was a lot deeper than that. And that's why I don't want to dwell too much on that chapter, Lane, because I felt like he was a lot deeper than a lot of us want to go with that whole thing. So if you don't have the book, get the book, Think and Grow Rich, and you can go deep with him and figure out what he was talking about. Not that I don't understand it, but I feel like it's kind of controversial, and I don't want to get too deep into anything controversial. Okay. I'm going to need to have these live chats in the afternoon because I'm feeling like after 9 now, my vocabulary or my tongue, like something is not cooperating with the other thing. But anyway, so we're going to move on. So thanks for sharing your input about that chapter, Lane. I do appreciate that. So we're going to move on and we're going to talk about chapter 13, the next chapter. And we're going to talk about... Okay, so that was chapter 13. Now we're going to talk about chapter 14, the sixth sense. Okay, so he talked again. He was very deep. Yeah, you're right. She says much deeper. Yeah, this chapter was much deeper. Boy, I tell you. Okay, I am going to read from these notes and then I'm going to add my spiel onto it because there's a part of this chapter that really stuck out to me. But rather than skip over everything, I'm just going to read through a few notes and then I'm going to get to what I really want to talk about in this chapter, if that's okay with you. Okay, so the door to the temple of wisdom. That's the 13th step towards riches. That's what he says. The understanding of the sixth sense comes only by meditation. That's what he says. Through mind development from within. Let me pause there for a second. So if you've never heard of the sixth sense, then let me know in the comments or what have you. But the sixth sense is basically when you can pick up or sense that something is going on or something like that. So it's like, I don't want to use the same word to describe it, but you can pick up that something is going on. So that's the sixth sense. You can kind of know that something is happening. So even though you haven't seen it, you haven't tasted it, smelled it, touched it, but you know that something is going on. So that's the sixth sense. So basically he's going into how that sixth sense can help you become rich. Okay, once you've mastered the sixth sense, you will be able to receive warnings about impending dangers in time to avoid them and get notified of opportunities in time to embrace them. So I honestly, I can't really disagree with him too much on this one, because I'm not saying that I disagree with a whole lot that he says, but having that sixth sense is really helpful, because you can pick up when something isn't right. Have you ever had that feeling? Like, am I the only one where you can be someplace and kind of feel like something isn't right? Or you want to go somewhere and you just feel like, oh, let me step back. And when you step back, something passes that could have knocked you over and you're like, oh, wow, you know? So anyway, I could call it another word, but the sixth sense is what he's talking about here. So you can use it so he's saying you can purposely use your sixth sense to protect yourself or provide opportunities for yourself. So you can use it for different things. However, the sixth sense will never function if indecision, doubt, and fear remain in your mind. So you have to clear all of those things from your mind, according to him, according to Napoleon, if you want to embrace that sixth sense, if you want it to really work for you. They are closely related. Indecision crystallizes into doubt, and the two blend to become the end result, which is fear. So doubt and fear go together, and they make the sixth sense really void in your life. It's not going to function if you have those. And that's what he's talking about. Now, this is a part that I really liked. Lane says, I always thought that was God. Yes. Yes. And a lot of us do feel that that's God. Other people who experience it believe it's sixth sense or something else. So, okay. Take that how you want to take that. That's the way he wrote the book. And you know that when you read the book, you see that he shares his ideas or his beliefs. And not that this is a religious book in any way, shape, or form, but he does talk about religion a lot. And we're going to talk about it a tiny bit as well in relation to the book. Excuse me. So he talks about the 6 basic fears. And these are real stuff here. I really like them. Not that I like the fears. I like the way he talked about them. All right. So the 6 basic fears are poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. However, there's also a 7th enemy, and I like the way he refers to fear as an enemy, and that's susceptibility to negative influences. Now, let's think about these 6 basic fears. Have you ever experienced any of these 6 basic fears? Please go ahead and comment, like this video, do whatever to let me know that whether or not you've experienced any of them. And if you haven't, that's fine. I know I have. I've definitely, I would say out of the 7, wow. I'm trying to see which one of them have I not experienced. I think only 1 out of the 7 I have not experienced. But they're all really real things that people go through. And as a result of going through any of these fears, you stop yourself, you stop your progress. You know, if you have a fear of poverty, that can propel you to go forward. But unfortunately, fear is not necessarily productive, because if you are fearful, you're overly processing that fear. So, in other words, you're so focused on that fear that you can't even think about a solution. You know, I have a child that's afraid of spiders. And honestly, that's all he can think about in certain situations. So he can't think about, like, okay, if I see a spider, what am I going to do? If there's a spider there, what am I going to do? How am I going to get around it? Or, what is a solution? Because he's so focused on that. Lane says all of them at one time or another. Yeah, I think it's very common for us to have these fears. Maybe not all of them, but I believe I've had all of them except for one at some point in my life. So yeah. So like I said before, fear is never, or let me not say never, because it's such an absolute statement, but fear is usually not something that's helpful, except for if your child is afraid of getting hit by a car and so they avoid playing in the street. I guess I could see where that can be productive. But for an adult, most times your fear is not going to be very productive, because you're you're just really overthinking it. Now, criticism. He talked a lot about that, the fear of criticism. Because of the fear of criticism, it might affect how we dress, where we go, what type of work we do, how we do our work, how we speak. So many different things are affected by our fear of criticism. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing, especially for us as women. We face the fear of criticism a lot. I wouldn't say every woman feels that way, because none of this is absolute. We can never say anything across the board. But for a lot of women, criticism is something that cripples us at times, because we're afraid of how others are going to see us if we say certain things or do certain things. And I know, particularly as a mom, I know I've experienced that fear of criticism. Like, if my kids were to act out, I'm I'm afraid that other people are going to judge me, like, oh boy, you didn't raise them right, or whatever the case may be. Thankfully, I have tried. I can't say 100% I've gotten over that. I can't say that. But it's a work in progress. I'm learning to let it go more, because honestly, they're just like me. It's either you love me or you don't love me. Like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and neither are they. They just need to be allowed to be themselves and be children, as long as they're respectful of other people. And so criticism is something that I've found as a parent really has gotten in the way of me just letting the kids be themselves. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I've been working towards letting go of that fear of criticism. But it really doesn't help you in business or acquiring money if you're so worried about what other people think about you. Ill health. This is something that he talked about a lot. And as he was talking about this, I was thinking about the current age in which we live in. Not everybody, lots of people are afraid of getting COVID and other things. What'd you say? They're good kids. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, they're good most of the time. I love my children. I love all my children. They're wonderful. Thank you for that compliment. All right, ill health. A lot of people are afraid of contracting COVID. So we know that this is a real thing. A lot of people are really fearful of this. And it's not just COVID. People are afraid that they're going to get, all the diseases that are out there. And because of their fear, it leads them to sometimes be too preoccupied. You see what I'm saying? I can't even talk tonight. I can't even talk. preoccupied, sorry about that, preoccupied with medication and other health related stuff because they are so afraid of being sick. I'm not afraid of being sick. I just don't want to be sick. I don't choose to be sick. And that's why I choose to be healthy and make healthy decisions most of the time. I'm working on it. All right. The fear of loss of love. Wow, this was a big thing. Sometimes we hold on to the wrong people in our lives because we're afraid of losing their love. Or he also mentioned that sometimes we give too much to someone out of our nothingness because we're afraid to lose them. You know, giving someone like an expensive gift or what have you, even though we can't really afford it, just because we're afraid to lose them. And it says, I think that fear of ill health can contribute to ill health. That is true. And that's what he talks about a lot with the mind. You know, you can, yeah. So let's go back to the ill health thing, the fear of ill health, that you can think about it so much that it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy because you've thought about it so much. Now you're sick. You know, it's like, oh man, I think I'm going to come down with a cold. Oh, I think I'm going to get the flu. Oh, I think, oh, my arthritis. I don't understand why people say my arthritis, because I don't know where you bought that thing, but I personally would return it. I don't own any type of sickness. I don't own any type of disease. Yes, I have aches and pains at times, but I'm not owning any type of illness. If something goes on, we attack it, we do what we have to do and move on. But that fear of illness can lead you to be sick because you're so preoccupied. And he even said that when doctors were polled at that time, I think it was like 75% of the cases that went into the doctor's office were sick from hypochondriasis, as opposed to like actual illnesses. They were so sick because they told themselves they were so sick, as opposed to having actual illnesses. And I've even heard of people who ended up having to be on medication. I mean, they talked about having certain ailments so much that even though the doctor didn't even see the illness, and they had to go by what the patient was saying, so they just like gave them medication. I've seen that, so many cases of that. So anyway, so that's something that can hold you back. Again, loss of love, we talked about that, just over giving at times because we're afraid of losing the love of that person. I would say even the respect of certain people if we don't do certain things. I spoke to a mom some years ago, and she was so depressed. She had several children, and it was close to Christmas time, and she was worried about the types of gifts that she was going to give those children for Christmas. And, she was so depressed about it, as if the children would not love her because she couldn't give them extravagant gifts. And, I had to really have a dialogue with her about, what's really important and this and that and the other, because honestly, if your love doesn't mean more than the gift, then it's like, I don't know. I think you're just setting yourself up for failure. But I feel like women in particular fall into that trap of holding on to love by doing different things. And that does not allow you to progress when you are doing things for the wrong motive, first of all. Second of all, when you're overextending yourself. I know we've talked about that before, that we shouldn't overextend ourselves, but as women, we tend to do that at times, and that is not healthy. That's not healthy, Okay, the next one, fear of old age. I haven't had that fear yet. That's probably the only fear I haven't had. But yeah, I'm not really afraid of old age. But actually, at one point I was afraid of my mom being old. Confession time, right? And she's still around, so but as a teenager I was really afraid of that at one point. Hey, hi Harumi. Thanks for coming. Good to see you. Oh well, see you, anyway. So we are right now talking about the 6 basic fears, and we're talking about fear of old age. Some people feel like, I can't accomplish certain things because I'm old. I'm already old, so I can't do this or I can't do that. And they keep telling themselves that, and they fear being old. So it's like a preoccupation. And that's what I feel about these fears. They're all a preoccupation. Because we're fearful, we're thinking about them all the time. It's more likely that we're going to think about the fear than we're going to think about solutions. And the next one, oh yeah, and he also talked about how we'll make excuses for ourselves and say, oh, I'm getting old. I've totally said that. Oh, it's got to be my memory. My memory's going, I'm old, things like that. So that's what people do. That's what people say. All right, fear of death. This is a big one for a lot of people. And because they're afraid of death, sometimes that leads them to do some outlandish things to stay alive. That fear of death, it's not productive. I feel like it could be productive if you fear dying so you do safe things. But honestly, because you have that preoccupation with death, it stops you from being able to be productive. Because there has to be more. Instead of focusing on living your best life, you're worried about just preserving your life. And so that's hard. And okay, so I'm going to share this. So December, my family and I, we went on a trip or what have you, and I did something that I've never done before. And I was so excited, but I felt like that's the way I wanted to start my year off. I went on high ropes. I went high rope walking. Like normally that would not be my thing, but I did it. I let go of my fear of death. And I walked on the tight ropes or whatever you want to call it. And that was a big deal. But had I not put down that fear of death, I would not have been able to have that accomplishment. So I really believe what he says, like those fears really hold you back. So if you want to accomplish something, according to what he says and according to what I say, you got to let go of fear. Fear can stop you from getting where you want to go financially. It definitely stops you because you don't want to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, then this is going to happen and that going to happen. So you don't want to take those risks. You got to take the risk, right? All right, let's wrap it up with the seventh fear. Susceptibility to negative influences. Okay, if you want to share anything about that, please feel free to share in the chat. But some of us are susceptible to negative influences. And what does that mean? Comment in the chat if you know what that means, or what does that mean to you. Go ahead and comment in the chat, and I'll wait a second for you. I feel like while you're going ahead and chatting, I know that one of the things that, speaking about myself personally, that I have always been susceptible to are people or words, like negative words. So not necessarily negative influences, but negative words. People saying negative words about me. And I'm still learning. And I've gotten so much better, and I'm continuing to work on myself to not let those negative words get me down. I think part of it is criticism, but sometimes it's not criticism. It's just in general, like negative words. So I'm learning, I'm getting better at not letting people's negative words get me down. But yeah, so go ahead and comment in the chat if you have any comments about that susceptibility to negative influences, and I'll go back and read it. But I'm going to go ahead and move on. To shield yourself from this enemy, like all people who accumulate great riches, you have to put your willpower into constant use. So anyway, the enemy we're talking about is fear in general, the enemy of fear. In order to overcome that or shield yourself from it, you have to put your willpower into constant use. until you build immunity against negative influences in your own mind. Deliberately seek, okay, wouldn't that kind of, okay, hold on. Wouldn't that kind of be the opposite of positive affirmations? Oh, are you talking about the negative influences? Let me know if that's what you mean by your question. If you mean, if you're talking about negative influences, just let me know if that's what you're talking about. And I'll come back and read that. All right. Deliberately seek the company of people who influence you to think and act from a positive standpoint. Yes. Okay. She says yes. Okay. Yes. But I think that the susceptibility to negative influences, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I don't remember exactly, but I feel like it's an external thing. The negative influences, not necessarily from your own mind, but from other people. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I may be misstating that part. So please feel free to correct me, because I know you read the book. All right. But it would definitely go against your positive affirmations. But using those positive affirmations is a way of helping you to overcome that susceptibility, because you want to use that weapon of combating that negative influence. And in order to do that, you have to condition your mind. That's what he's talking about. You have to build up that immunity against those negative influences. Deliberately seek the company of people who influence you to think and act from a positive standpoint. I believe that is so important. And that's why I have my group, my private Facebook group, because I feel like it's good to have a community of where there's positivity, and you can think about what it is you want to accomplish and work towards that in a positive space. Lane says, sure, but others could give positive affirmation too. I guess I was just using it as an example to help myself wrap my brain around the words on the paper. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, definitely people can give positive feedback or what have you. But I think this is more of, and I think that goes along with what's in these notes, that you want to seek the company of people who will influence you to think and act from a positive standpoint. So yes, that's important. But I think that more so what you tell yourself is more important. And there's a book that I read years ago. Let me see if I can remember the exact title. It's What I Say When I Talk to Myself. I think that's the name of it. You can Google it and see if that's it. But I remember reading that book maybe about 15 years ago or something. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I stretched the years. I don't know. It's a long time ago. But that book was really powerful. And I think I'm going to reread that book. That might even be one of our books when we restart the live chat, because that book was really powerful. I have a lot of old books. And I like old books, honestly. I like the new people, but I like a lot of the old books that I have. But that was a good one. Use your willpower to gain control over your thoughts and influence your subconscious mind. Again, having those positive affirmations that we talked about on previous live chats, so important. How do you do that? So he didn't talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this because this is something that I encourage people to do. I encourage my women when I work with women. And if you don't know, I'm a financial coach, and I've mostly worked with women, even as a therapist, working with DCS and stuff like that. So I encourage writing affirmations because I believe that it's a reprogramming of your mind. So for instance, if someone tells you, or even if that someone is you, oh, you're lazy, or something like, you're only going to make entry level or something like that, you can combat it by writing on a piece of paper, I am managerial material. I am a manager of the department. And you just say this over and over, and you reprogram your mind to greater things. Or, if it's lazy, oh, I am productive every day. I know what I'm going to do before my day starts. I plan my day ahead of time. Just out of the top of my head, I'm putting this. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, PhD. Yes, that is the book. Thank you. Thank you for looking that book up for me. I appreciate that. Yes, that is the book I was talking about. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, PhD. Yes, that is the book. I love that book. And I have to dig it out and read it again. So, yeah. So those positive affirmations really reprogram your mind, but you have to use it as a tool. And we talked about this earlier when we discussed this book, that it has to be something you repeat daily and even several times of the day. Ladies, put these affirmations where you can see them every day. I'll have to get that one. Yeah, get that book. Honestly, you need to get it. That was before Audible, so it could be in Audible by now. But anyway, you want to write it on a note card or something else, put it on your mirror, put it in your car, put it somewhere, those positive affirmations, and repeat them daily as many times as possible to reprogram your mind so that you start to think positive thoughts toward yourself. Because it's very important, because if you don't talk to yourself positive, you won't do positive things to help yourself to get to where you want to get to. You wonder sometimes why people who are wealthy, who you think are rich, whatever the term is that you want to use, why they commit suicide, why, they, are on drugs or what have you. So we know that just having riches or money alone is not enough. A lot of it, or I would say 90 something percent of it, is what is going on up here. What is going on in your mind? Because there's a Bible verse that says, so a man thinketh, so is he. And correct me if I did not quote that exactly. And if you don't read the Bible, that's fine. But basically what that is what you think is how you are. So if you are focusing on, I'm a go-getter, I'm a winner, and all that stuff, then you don't have time to be down in the dumps and feeling low about yourself and not productive and all that stuff, because you have already told yourself, I am a go-getter. I get up early to start my day. I take good care of my body. So when you're about to eat that donut, you're like, I take good care of my body. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to eat this donut. But anyway, I digress. But positive affirmations, super important. I highly recommend them to every and any person. Moving right along. So fear is just a state of mind. It is subject to control and direction. Use this knowledge to your advantage. Keep that in mind, that you have that control. That's what he's saying. You have the control over your mind. And I know a lot of people feel like they don't. But unless there's a chemical, because honestly, I do believe that people that have certain psychological challenges, I like the word challenges. I don't like some of the other terms that we tend to use, but then it's more of a challenge for you to control your mind, honestly. And having worked in the mental health field, I can tell you that it's not always mind over matter, so to speak. But a lot of it is. A lot of it is what you tell yourself really makes a big difference. So fear is a state of mind, and you can get yourself out of that fearful state by what you say, by what you do. It's so you can control it, okay? And here's a quote here. Man's thought impulses begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent, whether those thoughts are voluntary or involuntary. So I say be very intentional about what you're thinking and what you're doing. And when you catch yourself in doing stinking thinking, like I like to say, then you have to stop yourself and be like, nope, I'm not going to say that. One of the things that I please share as well, if you've ever had this issue. If you're just watching this right now, please go ahead and hit the like button in YouTube, because that way the video will show up better and other people can watch this now. And there might be something in this video that could help somebody today or tomorrow or the next day or next year. I don't know. But anyway, um, what was I going to say? Stinking thinking. Okay. So one of the things that I struggled with, and I say struggled in the past because I'm not going to, I don't claim that struggle anymore, but I struggled in the past with when I make a mistake, I would beat up myself. I would say, "Man, how why did you do that? That's just stupid." You know what? Like I would just say like the worst things to myself, like, "Man, you're stupid. Like, why would you even say that? Or why would you do that? Or how could you forget to do that?" Or, like I would say the most negative, like hurtful thing to myself. And I pulled no punches because, hey, I was just talking to myself. I'm not hurting nobody. I'll say whatever I could say. And I had to really catch myself on that because I was beating myself up. And it's like, if I'm beating myself up, how am I going to be productive? And I had to come to that realization that I have to stop that stinking thinking. I have to treat myself good, just the way how if a friend was to beat up herself and say, "Hey, I was stupid, blah, blah, blah," I would be the first person to be like, "No, you're not stupid. You made a mistake. You're human. It's okay. Don't stay there. Just keep on going forward," or what have you. I would definitely say that to a friend. So why was I telling myself, you are this and you are that, and how could you make that mistake, and rah rah rah, like that was just so abusive. Honestly, it was downright abusive to say those things to myself. So thankfully I've overcome that, and I continue to work on not being like that, because it's very important to catch those negative things. Lane says, "I'm happy you're not so mean to yourself anymore. I used to do that all the time too." Yeah, I'm honestly, it has made me a better person, because honestly, now when I make mistakes, because believe it or not, I make mistakes. I know it's hard to believe. I used to say I'm the CEO of mess up, or CEO of mistakes. But anyway, um, when I make mistakes now, and that there's that like knee jerk reaction to be like, "Oh, I, you know what? I'm human. I didn't think that through, but next time I'll learn something from it and I'll make better choices," or what have you. I immediately cut it off. And that's what I would definitely recommend. I know we're a little bit off on a tangent, but it's still relative to what he was saying in this book, that you've got to change what you say to yourself. You've got to control those thoughts. That kind of stinking thinking would drag us down. It would make me expect those kinds of things from myself. Exactly. Exactly. And why should you expect more from yourself than you would expect from somebody else? It's like, who are you that you think that you can't make mistakes, but everybody else can make a mistake? I'm just as human as everybody else. And maybe I'm a little bit better at making mistakes. Hey, I mean, maybe that's a profession I should go into. I don't know. But anyway, I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Of course, I'm messing around. I'm not the queen of mistakes. Surely, I'm sure I do a few things right every day. But what you say to yourself really makes a difference. And that has changed my outlook a lot, ladies. And I highly recommend it to any of you watching this right now. If you have a tendency to beat up on yourself and you want to make changes in your life, you want to increase your financial literacy, you want to, meet whatever financial goals or any other goals in your life, because this is not just about finances, but it's also about mindset training. You have to change that. You have to cut that off. Cut off those negative vibrations and embrace positivity. And remember that you are a human. You are human just like everybody else. Okay, so let's move on. The Devil's Workshop. Okay, 7 Basic Evil. Wait, I don't have that. Let's see. Okay, we're going to move on past that. I don't have that in my notes. How to protect yourself against negative influences. Yeah, we kind of talked about that already. And that, okay, so at the end of the book, he gives a self-analysis. No. Before I get to that, I wanted to say that he talks about in his book about excuses. He said something interesting. He said people who are not successful have all the reasons why it cannot be done. They have all the reasons why it cannot be done. And he talks about how we tell ourselves, we give ourselves um, excuses, or he calls it building alibis for ourselves. So, list of reasons why we're not able to achieve success. So, if this, then that. For instance, if only I were born, if only my parents had more money when I was growing up, then I could have been further along in my career by now. If I didn't have to take care of my kids during the day, then I could focus all my energy on my business and be a millionaire by now. If only that lady didn't take so long at the stoplight, I could have been there, you know. But anyway, the point is, so we have all these excuses, which he calls building alibis for ourselves. We come up with excuses of why we cannot be successful or achieve success. And I'm saying we need to cut those excuses out, because there, if we want to make excuses, there will always be an excuse. We can always come up with one. Lane says, unfortunately, I know someone like that. So many excuses, so little time. Yeah, we can all come up with this. You can excuse for everything. Honestly, there is nothing that you cannot find an excuse for. But how different would your life be if you didn't allow yourself to make an excuse? So, for instance, if you got someplace late, it's like, man, I was late because I just didn't pay attention to time. Wouldn't that like force you to say, to think to yourself, well, you know what? I need to get a hold of my time management. I need to work on my time management better because I was late and I shouldn't have been late for this meeting. I have definitely had what they call a come to Jesus um, with myself about that. You know, like making excuses stops you from progressing. You know, where making the excuse of why you didn't have success is stopping you from progressing. So just imagine if you took away the excuse, and you just figured out a way to make things happen. Very powerful stuff. So he talks about so at the end, at the very end, he gives a whole self-analysis test questions. And so I'm not going to go through them. If you have the book, again, if you're just getting on here, we're talking about Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you do not have the book, it's available on Audible and I believe also Amazon and other places. So definitely check out that book and give it a read. There's a lot of nice nuggets in there for us to improve our mindset. Mindset training is what it's all about. Lane says, guilty. It's so much easier to just be on time. Yeah. Yeah, when we cut out the excuses, because we're gonna make mistakes, but excusing yourself all the time does not allow you to take responsibility. And without you taking responsibility, you're not able to correct that behavior and achieve success. So I would suggest that we all, figure out where our area of weakness is when it comes to giving ourselves those alibis, as Napoleon would say, and take away the alibis so that we can begin to achieve success by taking responsibility for ourselves. So, wow, that is it. It's been 16 weeks of discussing several different books. It's been awesome. I just want you to know that if you need to get in touch with me, my information is in the description of this and all my other videos. I post every single week, all different topics that have to do with money and mindset. I don't really have a whole lot of mindset videos yet. I do have some on my Facebook page. However, women women's financial empowerment group. I do have some videos there, but I don't think I have any on YouTube yet, but I will be coming out with some. So definitely stick around, like this video, subscribe if you haven't, share it with your friends. I'm small. No, I'm not literally small, but but my channel is small, so figured it out. And my goal this month is to make 100 subscribers. So if we can get to 100, that would be a really great number to get to. So if you can help out with that, please go ahead and help out by sharing this with your friends, asking them to subscribe and hit the notification bell and come back whenever I post a video. That would be helpful. And until we start up the live videos again, that's it for me. Do you have anything else to add? If you don't have anything else to add, and I'll wait a little bit, but just so I can, let people go if they want to go. Remember, what do I always say? Change your mind, change your pocketbook. This has been our last, for now, live chat, and I'm your host, Ruth Agbeloso. If you have any other comments about the book or anything else, feel free to comment in the comment section, not in the live chat after the video, but in the comment section of the video. And that would be appreciated. Like this video. Oh, you're welcome, Harumi. You're welcome. I was telling someone earlier, I don't know how to like people's comments on Facebook, so I'll have to go back after the video and like them. Lane says, no excuses. Got to do my workout tonight. All right. Sounds good. I'm not making any excuses. I don't plan on working out. So there's no excuse there. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, I'm not making any excuses for my Corona belly. It's just there. And when I'm ready to tackle it, I'm going to tackle it. I'm not going to make any excuses at all, Lane. I'm not. Okay? Oh my gosh, I know I'm crazy, but I don't know. This is the time of night when, things get crazy. But anyway, change your language, okay, I heard you. Yeah, I said change your mind, change your pocketbook, right? Because first it starts with the mind. You change your mind, then you're going to make different choices, different decisions when it comes to your money, and you keep your money in your where? In your pocketbook. At least most women have pocketbooks, but if you don't have a pocketbook, I'm not sure where you carry your wallet. If you just carry it in your hand, I don't know. Okay. Harumi says, okay, I heard you. Thank you so much. Lane says, thank you for helping me change my mind. Oh, awesome. It's my pleasure. And it's after 10 now, so we're going to go ahead and end. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Please stick around my channel, my page, and everything like that for announcements for when we're going to start again. I'm really looking forward to being with you again. Take care, and I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.